51% of the University of Alabama graduates are leaving the state of Alabama after they graduate. Why? I wish I could just take a minute and tell you about some of the wonderful reasons why I chose to stay in Tuscaloosa, Alabama after I graduated, and why I think you should too. So to begin with, I'm going to kind of talk about Alabama as a whole, and then I'm really going to tell you on Tuscaloosa. So I'm Mary Harmon Young. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama and a realtor in Tuscaloosa and West Alabama now. And I really think that you should consider staying in Tuscaloosa when you graduate. You probably have already fallen in love, but it's a totally different scene after graduation when you become a young professional and an adult in the Tuscaloosa area. So let's look at Alabama first. So we have over 700 international companies within the state of Alabama. So that'll kind of give you an idea about the job opportunities that might be a good fit for you. It also brings in a variety of culture and religion, as well as food and drinks. So when we look at some of the other cities, we've got Huntsville, which is really one of the busiest and fastest growing areas in America. I want to say it was number 8 the last thing I saw, and it was number 1 for the most prosperous because they have NASA and all of these government contractors that are paying a lot of money. So there is a lot of growth and a lot of money to be made up in the Huntsville, Alabama area. From here in Tuscaloosa, we are 5 hours from the beautiful white sandy beach of the Gulf of Mexico, and we're not too far either from some of the other areas on 30A right across the line in Florida too. We also have probably, I think it's now the 3rd lowest property taxes in the country, and we have a really good cost of living. If I could show you what your money could buy in Tuscaloosa compared to where else you're looking, I bet I could talk you into staying. So a few of my favorite reasons of why I'm glad my husband and I have chosen to stay in Tuscaloosa and raise our family here is because I get to share my love of Alabama with my kids. Whether it's trick-or-treating with the University of Alabama football team, or doing sorority row Easter egg hunts, or even having some of the best and brightest interns in my kids' elementary schools during their internships and while they are still learning and practicing those best practices with our schools. There's always something I can do if my kids are bored or need just a little bit of extra something to get their energy out. Whether it's a game on campus, whether it's rugby, tennis, swimming, a gymnastics meets, or a basketball or football, there's also lots of events, whether it's at the museums on campus or things to do on the quad. So there's always something to do, and it helps build the love of the University of Alabama that I have with my kids. So another thing that was important to me is that I raised my kids in an area that has a strong arts and music scene, and Tuscaloosa definitely does. Probably our most famous two are going to be the Druid City Arts Festival as well as the Kentuck Festival. Both of those have made a splash on the national scene and are things my kids can't wait. One's in the spring and one's in the fall. We have lots of music events, whether it is at those festivals or it's at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater, which are bringing in some of the hottest acts across the country and are always a fun date night for my husband and I, or a girls' night for my girls' friends. We have lots of good food. Like I mentioned, we have a variety of different types of food all around Tuscaloosa. We also have lots of museums, and we're getting a new one that's going to be state-of-the-art as well. Whether it's the Museum of Natural History, where they've got lots of dinosaur things that they have found, or it's the Children's Hands-On Museum downtown. There's always something that can help teach my kids a little bit of extra stuff that I may have forgotten to kind of really knock them into their heads. We also have an incredible outdoor scene, whether it's the Black Warrior River, which is right in the middle of the university campus, where you might just see a tugboat or a speedboat, or you could see the rowers practicing and having their regattas. We also have beautiful Lake Tuscaloosa where you could even live on if you wanted to. Many more houses are on Lake Tuscaloosa than the Black Warrior, but it's just a beautiful thing to be able to even rent a boat, go and enjoy Lake Tuscaloosa, do a lot of skiing, a lot of paddle boarding. Speaking of paddle boarding, if you wanted something a little quieter, we have Lake Lurleen and Lake Nickel, where are really good options for just a little bit more quieter option and to enjoy the water, whether it's for fishing or paddle boarding or anything like that. We also have Hurricane Creek, which is wonderful option. It's like, just kind of being just a quiet walk with your kids. The dogs can kind of play, that kind of thing. And then there's a few little areas that are deep enough for swimming. But we have lots of options like that really help play in the role for my husband and I on why we decided to make Tuscaloosa home after our time at the University of Alabama. And I think these 3 reasons, whether it's sharing the love of Alabama, really having that strong arts and music ties, as well as the outdoors. So we hope that this helps you make your decision. If you have questions or want advice or really want to compare whether you have job opportunities elsewhere and in Tuscaloosa, I would love to answer any questions you have and help show you why Tuscaloosa was our home and why it should be yours too.